That was amazing. That was Robert Black playing. Welcome back, Michael. That was Robert Black playing Ken Thompson's piece, Birds and Ambulances. They're going to be here in a second to tell us more. That piece was commissioned by Bang on a Can with support from the ASCAP Foundation. And now, I believe Robert and Ken are about to be here. Ken, welcome back.
Hey, thanks.
Seems like we only saw you just a minute ago.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I think you wrote this piece while you were still in Brooklyn. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. This is a year ago now at this point. Yeah, and it's actually Robert's there. Robert, that was amazing.
Robert.
Thank you.
Robert.
Robert.
Wow.
Amazing music.
There were so many
beautiful contrast, the kind of really fierce, edgy, in your face part of the piece, and then these beautiful, delicate long tones that I think were harmonics. There's some that were just very ethereal. So just what a great range of Robert Black in this piece.
I guess some of them were birds and some of them were ambulances.
No, no, no. Yeah.
Sure,
No,
they're
that's
all
the problem.
cute.
If you title something like that, then it's going to be like, yeah, then it's like just, I was actually just thinking about that. Oh man, that's supposed to be the bird. And that, no, 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 no. But it actually is exactly what you were talking about earlier, David. It's precisely that the moment when the city went quiet. And that was the most incredible thing living in Sunset Park, where we were right on the LaGuardia flight path. So, and then suddenly, from one day to the, it felt like from one day to the next. It was obviously more gentle than that, but and suddenly it was just quiet. And the only thing, especially at the beginning of the pandemic in New York, there were birds, there was quiet, and then there was the very common sound of the ambulances going by, which you could hear so clearly because they were just, there was nothing else to cut through the noise. So that's exactly what it was. And I think all of us felt at that point that if we were writing anything, then that's kind of the only thing that we could be writing was a response to where we were. So in some ways, yeah, this piece is definitely about that time.
And this was pretty early on in the pandemic, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because this was on the first marathon.
yeah, the first virtual marathon. That's
May,
right.
May,
So this is,
May of last year,
yeah,
right?
10
I
months
just want to
ago.
point out that Robert is in that beautiful orange room there, and Robert, through this pandemic, you've been doing these amazing first Fridays of just you, your bass, some beautiful camera angles showing close-ups of the basin. Just it's incredible that you jumped in and said, I've got to make this happen. I need to play. This is partly why we started these marathons, because we thought everyone's sitting at home. First of all, they need to get paid, but they really, first and foremost, they need to play music and share it. And so just looking at that orange room again, so grateful that you've jumped in and created this series that you're doing all by yourself.
Well, I'm so glad that I could partner with all of you wonderful people too to do that. But yes, it's true that I need to play, all of us players need to play, but the audience, they need to hear. So we all need what we're doing to make the circle complete. And we have, I think, managed to do quite well given the circumstances.
Ken and Robert, for some of these new pieces and commissions, we've been introducing people who've actually never met each other before, and the two of you, of course, play together in the Bang on a Can All Stars, so it's a completely different experience, right, Ken, to be writing for your bandmate in a certain sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a total privilege. We hadn't worked this way before together, and I think that was something that was really special, to be able to actually work in this sort of composer performer sort of dynamic, which we hadn't done. We've played so many pieces together and so many new pieces together and worked things out so many times. But I love really writing for people who I know, because then what they can do. And that doesn't necessarily mean you write just for what they can do. It also means that you can kind of push them in different ways and say, oh, what would it like if Robert played that? And it really makes your imagination go to different places than if you're just like, oh, I'm going to write a bass piece. But if you're writing a bass piece for someone, then it's really powerful. And I think then it's much easier to kind of think of what you can do. So and of course, I have a thing with the bass that I like to use the whole range of the thing. So I knew that Robert might be down with trying that. I've definitely gotten some hard times before from bass players. It's like, this is not a cello, right? This is a bass, right? But Robert never said that, actually, luckily.
Well, but I was a little nervous because I remember I told you, please don't make it too hard.
I know. And I screwed it up the one job.
I don't think he listened to you.
But also, because these were fast turnarounds. I mean, the composers had just a few weeks to write it, and I had a couple, 2 or 3 weeks to learn it. So
yeah, I think we've commissioned more than 50 pieces of music since the pandemic started, which has been incredible. And in most cases, it's been okay. You've got 6 weeks basically, or 2 months max, and sometimes less time than that. And it's just it's churning it out. It's kind of feels like we're going back to the 18th century or something. People actually needed music all the time, and that's kind of how it feels like we need music.
But I also have to say that a lot of the people who I've also worked with as a performer have said, "Oh, I haven't written any music since the beginning of this pandemic," and that's also a really common thing. So it's not like these pieces, in a lot of ways, can be meaningful, even if they're sort of like churned out. But I think they're not really churned out. They always are incredibly heartfelt because a lot of times people didn't have anything to write for. They sometimes didn't know what to do. So I think that this is also something really powerful. And I was lucky to have this excuse to write this piece kind of early on, and probably earlier than I would have been writing otherwise. So
Yeah, you have to keep your channels unclogged.
And
Well,
Robert, thanks so much.